Christopher Adam Chris Daughtry is an American musician, best known as the lead vocalist and rhythm guitarist for the rock band Daughtry and as the fourth-place contestant on the fifth season of American Idol. After his elimination from Idol, he was given a record deal by RCA Records and formed a band called Daughtry. Their self-titled debut album became the fastest-selling debut rock album in Nielsen Soundscan history, selling more than 1 million copies after just 5 weeks of release. The album was recorded before the band was officially formed, making Chris Daughtry the only official member present on the album. In its 9th week of release, Daughtry reached #1 on the Billboard charts. Chris Daughtry is now the third most successful American Idol contestant in terms of record sales, behind only Kelly Clarkson and Carrie Underwood, who both won their respective seasons. At the 50th Grammy Awards, the band was nominated for Best Rock Song for the single It's Not Over. Since the band's first album, Chris Daughtry has collaborated with several artists, including Slash, Bon Jovi, Sevendust, Theory of a Deadman, Chad Kroeger, Brad Arnold, Vince Gill and Carlos Santana. He is known for his powerful vocal belting technique and wide vocal range. Early life: Chris Daughtry was born in Roanoke Rapids and raised in Alaska until he was 14. His parents, Sandra and James Pete Daughtry, reside in Palmyra, Virginia, where Daughtry grew up before he relocated to McClellanville, North Carolina, outside of Greensboro. His brother, Kenneth, lives in North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. At age 16, Daughtry started taking singing seriously as a musician. He took guitar lessons from blues rock guitarist Matt Jagger at Stacy's Music Store in Charlottesville and Mark Ebert from Laurinburg, North Carolina. He sought advice from Andy Waldeck, who was credited first on his debut album. He performed with rock bands during his time in high school at local venues, opening for his future bandmate Brian Craddock's band My Dog Lucy and Matt Jagger. During high school, he appeared in 2 stage productions, The Wiz and Peter Pan. Career: Cadence. Daughtry's high school band went by the name of Cadence. He sang lead vocals and played rhythm guitar. They produced one album, All Eyes on You, a rare piece that can sometimes be found on eBay. Daughtry later sang lead vocals and played rhythm guitar for rock bands in Burlington such as Absent Element. Absent Element. The band Absent Element consisted of Daughtry on lead vocals and guitar, Mark Perry on lead guitar, Scott Crawford on drums and Ryan Andrews on bass. Absent Element released Uprooted in 2005. This CD contains the songs Conviction and Breakdown, which Daughtry would later combine and re-record as the song Breakdown for the Daughtry CD. In 2005, Chris Daughtry auditioned for the CBS singing contest Rockstar, INXS. He did not make the cut for the actual filming of the show. Former Daughtry drummer Joey Barnes was at the same audition and made the cut only to drop out of the running due to disagreements regarding the contract. American Idol. Daughtry auditioned for American Idol in Denver, Colorado, with the box tops the letter. He was portrayed as a young rocker with southern and hard rock influences. He passed the audition by a split decision, approved by Paula Abdul and Randy Jackson, disapproved by Simon Cowell. Simon felt that Daughtry at the time was too robotic. After being given a golden ticket to Hollywood, he performed the first cut Is the Deepest, and sang Emotion during his trio performance with Ace Young and Bobby Bullard. The song for Daughtry's a cappella performance remained unknown until American Idol Rewind aired Season 5 Hollywood Week, when it was shown that he sang Elton John's Your Song. Daughtry eventually made it to the top 24. On March 1, 2006, Daughtry's raw performance of Fuel's Hemorrhage received critical acclaim by all 3 judges. On March 3, 2006, Jackson stated in an interview that Daughtry had been offered the opportunity to become Fuel's new lead singer, as the band was at the time without a lead singer. At a welcome home party, Daughtry said he had declined the offer, but, he said, he'd still like to work with them somewhere down the road. Daughtry's March 21 performance caused controversy when the apparently original rendition of Johnny Cash's I Walk the Line garnered much praise from the judges. However, viewers noted that the rendition was very similar to a version by Liv. However, There was no mention of that in Daughtry's pre-performance interview. In an interview with Entertainment Weekly, Daughtry defended himself, saying it wasn't my doing. You say a lot of things in the pre-taped interview, and when editing gets involved, things get cut out for time constraints. I did mention in my interview that I'm doing a different version from a band I totally respect. The lead singer of Live, Ed Kowalczyk, called me to say, "Man, don't listen to that." It was really cool to get that kind of respect. On August 2, 2008 at the Toms River Fest in Toms River, NJ, Daughtry, Kowalczyk, and Liv performed Liv's rendition of I Walk the Line Together. Chris Daughtry was in the Final Four on May 10, 2006, and found himself in the bottom two with Katharine McPhee. When asked by Seacrest who should be leaving, Cole expressed that he believed that McPhee should be eliminated. Ryan Seacrest then announced that Daughtry was eliminated. Seacrest asked him if he was surprised. An obviously stunned Daughtry could only utter, a little, "Yeah." The media grabbed hold of the surprise elimination and there was some controversy regarding the accuracy of the vote count on the night Daughtry was eliminated. The vote tallying website Dial Idol, however, predicted that Daughtry was the lowest vote-getter for the week. In an interview after his elimination, Daughtry said that he thought he got voted off because his fans were overconfident that he would be safe, so they did not call and vote. Later, he stated the best piece of advice he ever received was, "Don't believe your own hype," a possible nod towards his surprise American Idol elimination. During the Season 5 finale on May 24, 2006, at the Kodak Theatre in Hollywood, Daughtry performed the song Mystery with the band live. Liv's version of the song was later available for download on the band's MySpace.com profile with Chris Daughtry performing backup vocals. Performance review: Note 1 When Ryan Seacrest announced the results that night, Daughtry was placed in the top two. Post-Idol events: after leaving American Idol, Daughtry traveled the talk show circuit, which has become commonplace for non-winners as American Idol progressed through the years. He made appearances on The Tonight Show, Total Request Live, and The Today Show. He also appeared on Live with Regis and Kelly and The Ellen DeGeneres Show, in which he performed Wanted Dead or Alive. In a later episode of the show in which Ellen interviewed former Presidents Bill Clinton and George H.W. Bush, who were collaborating on the Bush-Clinton-Katrina Fund, she even jokingly asked if anything could be done about Chris Daughtry's elimination. Chris Daughtry was asked to audition as the lead vocalist for Fuel and, though incredibly flattered, he declined the offer in order to form his own band. Daughtry, for the week of June 10, 2006, Chris Daughtry's cover of Wanted Dead or Alive charted at number 43 on the Billboard Hot 100, being named the Hot Shot debut of the week. On July 10, 2006, it was announced that Daughtry had signed with 19 Entertainment and RCA Records and began working on an album that was to be released in November. It was also announced that, like Season 4 rocker Konstantin Maroulis, he would be forming his own band. His band was formed under the name Daughtry, after the singer's last name. The band currently consists of Chris Daughtry, guitarists Josh Steely and Brian Craddock, bassist Andy Waldeck replacing Josh Paul at the end of 2012, and drummer Robin Diaz. In 2012, Elvio Fernandez joined Daughtry playing keyboard and singing backup vocals. Daughtry's debut album was released on November 21, 2006. Chris Daughtry reportedly told Us Weekly that the band's album would not be pop. The first single off Daughtry, It's Not Over, was released November 21, 2006. The album reached number 1 in Billboard charts with his debut album. He joins Carrie Underwood, Kelly Clarkson, Clay Aiken, and Ruben Studdard as the only contestants to reach number 1 in Billboard 200. The album featured Velvet Revolver and former Guns N' Roses guitarist Slash, who performed the guitar solo on the eventual single, What I Want. Beginning on March 14, 2007, on every episode of American Idol's sixth season's results show, Daughtry's song Home was played every time a participant was knocked out of the competition, as each of the losing contestants was asked to look at their own journeys. Additionally, on the final competition on May 22, 2007, Daughtry performed the song live at the end of the show. It also became the song for the eliminating home team for the 2007 NBA playoffs. In March, Daughtry performed during the Final Four round of the 2007 NCAA Men's Division I basketball tournament. On May 27, Daughtry performed at the 2007 Indianapolis 500. On September 19, 2007 on ABC, Viva Las Vegas premiered, which was a tribute to Elvis Presley's career in Las Vegas. Daughtry performed an acoustic version of Suspicious Minds. On November 18, 2007, the band was the winner of multiple awards at the 2007 American Music Awards. The winning categories were: 1. Pop or Rock, Favorite Album, Daughtry. 2. Adult Contemporary Music, Favorite Artist. 3. Favorite Breakthrough Artist. On December 6, 2007, the band was nominated for 4 50th Annual Grammy Awards, Best Rock Album for Daughtry, Best Rock Song for It's Not Over, Best Pop Performance by a Duo or Group with Vocal for Home, and Best Rock Performance by a Duo or Group with Vocals for It's Not Over. On May 6, 2009, Daughtry performed No Surprise, the debut single for their forthcoming album, on American Idol. Chris Daughtry wrote the song with Nickelback vocalist Chad Kroeger. The album on which No Surprise appears, Daughtry's second album titled Leave This Town, was released on July 14, 2009. Chris Daughtry made history with its release by becoming the first American Idol alumnus to have 2 consecutive #1 albums. Leave This Town was the first Daughtry album that they wrote and recorded as a band, as their self-titled album was recorded before the band was officially formed and featured only Chris Daughtry as an official member. On July 2, 2009, Daughtry performed an acoustic cover of Lady Gaga's Poker Face, and has received over 25 million views on YouTube. Daughtry kicked off a tour with Lifehouse and Kevo on August 2, 2009 in Orlando, Florida. The final show of the tour was in Tempe, Arizona on October 13, 2009. The band played a show in Chris Daughtry's hometown of Greensboro, North Carolina on November 12, 2009. On December 31, 2010, Daughtry tweeted that the band will be working on a new album soon. On March 7, 2011, he tweeted that the album sounds nothing like the previous 2 and will feature a song titled Spaceship. There will be another song on the record called Rescue Me, which the band has performed on stage in New Jersey. The album would be released on November 21, 2011, according to Daughtry's Twitter. Daughtry has written and recorded a song for the soundtrack to the video game Batman: Arkham City. On September 5, 2011, Daughtry tweeted that the song Drown in You is exclusive to the soundtrack and will not be featured on his upcoming album. On September 15, 2011, Daughtry posted a new song Renegade on his official website. His newest single Crawling Back to You was posted on the website and released on September 19, 2011. On September 27, 2011, Daughtry announced that the new album will be titled Break the Spell. On January 17, 2013, Daughtry announced they were working on their 4th studio album. The first single to Daughtry's 4th album is called Waiting for Superman. On September 17, Daughtry announced on their website that the new album was titled Baptized. Collaborations: in 2008, Chris Daughtry provided vocals on a 7-dance track entitled The Past on their album Chapter 7, Hope and Sorrow. He had previously stated he had become friends with the members of the band. Alter Bridge members Mills Kennedy and Mark Tremonti appear on the same album. In the same year, Chris Daughtry also provides vocals on the Theory of a Dead Man song By the Way, which is featured on their 3rd album Scars and Souvenirs. Still in 2008, he appeared on the song Slow Down on the album Revelation by Christian rock band Third Day. In 2009, the band Daughtry collaborated with Timbaland on their song Long Way Down from the album Shock Value 2. During this time, Chris Daughtry has also co-written 3 songs with Brand Day of Fire for their 2010 album Losing All, including the track Hello Heartache. In 2010, he and Jason Wade performed a duet on Lifehouse's 5th studio album Smoke and Mirrors on the song Had Enough. Chris Daughtry also co-wrote the song Send Me All Your Angels for American Idol Season 8 winner Chris Allen's debut album. He later performed lead vocals on the cover Def Leppard's song Photograph with Carlos Santana on Santana's album called Guitar Heaven, the greatest guitar classics of all time. It was released on September 21, 2010 with a performance on the Dancing with the Stars results show that day. Personal life. In a segment on the 2006 season of American Idol, Chris Daughtry revealed that he is balding and made the decision to shave his head completely in order to retain an aesthetically pleasing appearance. He has been married to Deanna Daughtry since November 11, 2000. He has 4 children, a stepdaughter, Hannah, born September 7, 1996 from his wife's previous marriage, a stepson, Griffin, born June 30, 1998 and twins, Adal and Rose and Noah James, born November 17, 2010. In a December 2007 interview with Gibson Lifestyle, Chris Daughtry said, "I used to call my wife and just quickly throw in the towel. But unregistered trademark they found that the less I say and the more I actually listen to her, and just be there without actually being there, is the best thing I can do. As a man, I always feel like I need to say something. Sometimes I have to stop myself because all I want to do is call and tell her about how much awesome stuff is going on in my life, and, her day is sucking hard. I could write a book on it." Unregistered trademark M Serious Chris Daughtry and fellow Idol contestant Ace Young have been friends since they met at the show's Denver auditions, and even periodically shared an apartment as finalists. Young said they clicked because they shared similar upbringings and were both big on family. Ryan Seacrest had also dubbed them the Ben Affleck and Matt Damon of the season, when the two were placed in the bottom 2 together upon Young's elimination. In the final episode of the season, a clip of them in a Best Male Bonding segment was also shown. Chris Daughtry lives in Oak Ridge, North Carolina. Influences. Chris Daughtry's musical influences include Creed, Bush, Liv, Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, Stone Temple Pilots, Journey, Bon Jovi, and Fuel. He states that he grew up on rock and hard rock music. Discography, Cadence, All Eyes on You, Absent Element, Uprooted, Daughtry, Leave This Town, Break the Spell, Baptized, Other Works, Notes, AA, the CD of Daughtry's former band, Absent Element, began to float around the Internet during the 2006 season of American Idol. References. External links. Official website, Daughtry live set at Spanking New Sessions, Chris Daughtry at the Internet Movie Database, Daughtry interview with Gibson guitar by Ellen Maloney, the Chris Daughtry fan listing.